everybody, Mike Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby Supply. I'm going to give you a video update number 30. I've only done one thing, but we're going to take a pretty close look at it, and hopefully I can get some pictures and explain how I did it. Let's take a look. Well, everybody, here's the new edition. As you can see, it's crossbucks. It took a lot of money and a lot of work to get these things going. And as you can see, I need to put some foliage around the bottom of them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly, or try to show you exactly how they work underneath, and hopefully maybe explain and kind of show you. I wish I'd have taken a little more time to take some pictures while I was doing it, but I didn't really know what I was doing, so I wasn't sure it was going to turn out. So I'll try and explain it after the fact. I'm going to let these go up, and then we'll take a look at the installation. Okay, I think this, with the video camera, this might be a little bit too bright, but I'll post a still picture of it. But anyways, so I could mount them all in one piece, I took a large piece of plastic tubing and a small piece of plastic tubing and mounted the crossbuck, or whatever, into the large tubing and ran the wire down through. Then the small wire that comes from the tortoise remote switch machine actuator comes up on the outside of that, and then the small tube was slipped into the large tube with the small tube that holds the stainless steel wire inside of that. And then that was all kind of glued together so I could drop the whole thing down in one piece and have the small piece of piano wire actually attached to the signal. I'll try and take some shots of that so you can see how that was mounted. Okay, now that you've seen the top up there, I'm going to take you down here underneath and try and explain to you how this is all hooked up, and I hope it makes sense to you. Let's take a look. Okay, this is the tortoise machine with the remote mount here. I don't know how close I can get, but you can see some stainless steel wire coming out of there, and the two small pieces of tubing there. Each one of those pieces of tubing goes over here and up to each signal. This black device here actually holds the tubing and keeps the tubing from moving, as does the one over here on the machine itself. Then the stainless steel wire goes through that very small tubing and actually goes up and comes out the top where you saw the plastic and actually works as the operator. And both signals, or both arms, are operated by the same tortoise device. But you can see that they're both tied down there. I can work this tortoise by hand here, and you can actually see that when you hook this up, you actually don't need to have a whole lot of movement. Well, I can't move it right now because it's got power on it the other way. If I had the power off, I could move it. But nevertheless, you get the idea that there's not a lot of movement there. It doesn't take a lot of movement to get the signals down. All I have is just this one power wire here that goes to the tortoise, and let's take a look at the actuator and the bell device. Okay, this is the actual device, the detector, and the device that works the lights and also connects the sound module to everything. I only have two sensors hooked up to it from the southbound tracks, but I have to put two more detectors in. But anyway, we can explain it. The detectors all hook along this strip right here. You have incoming power here, and you can see that I've multipled the wire off that goes up to the sound module. and this is an ACTRR board. It works extremely well with infrared detectors, and I'm just going to pan along the wires here. This is quite a mess, but anyways, you'll get an idea. The wires go up, and then the detectors are up under there through the board. Another set of detectors here. So there's basically two sets of infrared detectors, and I'll show you how I mounted those and why I mounted them where I did, coming in that way. Another little thing about this board is when it detects a train, there's a small yellow light that comes over here. You can see there's numbers on there 1 through 6. You're able to hook up 6 individual detection blocks. I only have 2 right now. I'm planning on only have 4. And I'm not only going to work this signal here, but the signal ahead of it on the north end as well. I have some just crossing lights there, and I'm going to work those lights off of the same detection system. Going out to the lights, you can see the 2 resistors on the 2 wires that go to the lights, and then the negative side of the lights comes down with that black wire and attaches there. Then these 2 wires that come off right here, the red and the red white and the white red wires there, come off and go up here to the soundboard, and I use one side of that current to activate the soundboard. Right now I just have a little bitty speaker attached to it, and actually this speaker sounds pretty good if I put it in a little housing, and it doesn't. It actually scales the sound down pretty well. I don't really want it real loud. I want it like you're listening to it from far away, or as far away as you're actually viewing it. I guess that's the point. But now let me take you up. I mean, that's a pretty brief explanation of the devices down here. Let's take a look at the detectors, and I'll explain to you why and where I'm going to put the other ones. Okay, here we are on top. There's 2 detectors there. They're not pointed directly at each other because I found out they're a little too strong to actually point directly at each other, so they reflect off the cars. This would be the first detector coming from the south. If I had a train coming this direction, that would be the first detector it hit. I had to put it back this far from the crossing so that the crossing lights would come on and the gates would have time to come down before the train exited the yard. Then as I come down here, you can see, and I also had to cover the 2 main lines there. Those are the 2 main lines. The rest of the yard tracks are not covered at that point. But when I come down here, you can see the emitter, or I don't know whether that's the emitter or detector, basically right here. And then you have the receiver over there, so it covers all those tracks across there. And that normally would keep the thing going. But actually what I use it for is if I have trains in any of the yard tracks other than the 2 main lines and the train approaches, it'll turn the gate on, which probably won't happen real often, but it would make it a little more realistic. Now let me back up here and I'll give you an idea of actually how far away that is from the actual crossing. Here's the first detector. You can see where the second detector was down there, right across from the school bus, and then there are the crossing gates down there where the road is. Now let me take you to the other end and show you where I'm going to apply the other 2 detectors. Okay, I plan on operating these signals right here. There's one actually over here behind the bush. These signals will be operated by the same detection because it's only this far down to the other road. So both of them will come on at the same time, therefore protecting both of those roads at the same time. One of the detectors, I know I'm scanning back and forth kind of fast. Anyway, one of the detectors, which would just be a keep alive detector, would be located somewhere in this area right here. And I'll get to keep alive in a minute. The other detector I'm thinking of either placing right outside that tunnel portal right there or back a little bit further. I think it's actually going to have to be back inside the tunnel there, about straight down from that backdrop there, to get the lights on soon enough that the train doesn't get there before the lights actually come on. But I'll determine that when I get over there. Now, when I said keep alive, Actually, what happens, I probably wouldn't have even needed those because of at the rate I run my trains, I don't have any bullet trains, I don't run anything real fast out here. The unit that you saw, the ACTRR unit down there, actually has a 30-second timer on it. So when the gate comes on, the train has 30 seconds to go by and out of the area, which on my little layout here is more than sufficient time to get a train by. So probably if I hadn't run into the situation with the yard, I could probably get by with 3 detectors, or I could have got by with 1 detector placed considerably far back, like maybe 5 feet back from the crossing itself, and 2 detectors probably would have done it. I just assumed I needed more, but I didn't really need more. Because the 30-second delay keeps it on. So anyway, that's kind of an overview of what's been going on. I like the way they work, and actually I can get them probably to work here once again. And now I've taken my hand away from the detector. I'm going to take you down here and show you real quick the board. Here's the board, and you can see that the yellow light on the block 2 is on. And if I take my hand away, you can see that go off. And actually the 30-second timer went off because I did it twice. But let me do it one more time. And then if I take my hand off, the yellow light goes off, the red light stays on, and that red light will stay on for 30 seconds. Another kind of cool thing is that when that 30-second timer does go off, it shuts off the bell first, then it raises the gates and then shuts off the lights, which is pretty cool. It makes a pretty cool realistic effect. We'll let them go up one more time. Okay, the red light went off, the gates are going up, the sound is off, and the lights are now off. Okay, well, I hope that was okay explanation. I'm not very electronic savvy. I feel very accomplished that I was able to get that in. Maybe some people will find it easier or whatever. But anyway, what I'd like to say is that the remote mount for the tortoise is a very important part of getting those mounted properly and working properly. And it's a real, that remote mount is a real useful tool when you're going to do something slow motion like that. Not to mention operating turnouts, but it comes with everything you need, all that little tubing, all that little wire and everything. The gates are considerably expensive. I don't have a figure off the top of my head, and the ACTRR board seemed to me like it was around $100, and the soundboard was about $40. So, you know, it's a considerable investment for something that doesn't really do much, but it is pretty cool to watch. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this this edition 30 of the ACT updates. I hope to see you again in the near future, and thanks for watching once again, and come back and see us.